that was kind of a blur. And at some points, like it's unfortunate, but at the same time, like I feel like it gave me a year to kind of get my feet wet in college basketball.
The WNBA's most anticipated rookie just dropped explosive details about her 2025 season. She turned down a massive Unrivaled deal that shocked everyone. Fresh footage shows Clark discussing her intensive training program and relationship with former teammate Kate Martin.
But now she's getting a little more run and getting to play and playing free. And I think people are just seeing her confidence grow and grow. So just like I said, I'm really happy for her, and hopefully I can recruit her to Fever somehow, some way, one day. Who knows? I'm gonna try to figure that out. I don't know, but it's my goal at some point in my career to team up with Kate again.
Yeah,
we'll see if it happens. People don't get too excited.
Her plans with the Indiana Fever are bigger than anyone expected. These revelations are changing everything we thought we knew about Clark's professional future.
There's been a lot of really good players to come through our program and have would have been National Player of the Year, Big Ten players, whatever it is. And I think we only have 2 with their jersey retired right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be cool to be one of the few. And obviously there's been a lot of really good players to wear 22 at the same time.
We've got some exclusive footage that's going to blow your mind about what's happening with Caitlin Clark now. Before we dive into the shocking revelations from her latest interview, let's talk about what's happening at Carver Arena on February 2nd, because this is absolutely massive.
But I'm just very grateful and thankful to have played at a place that loves women's basketball in the way that it does, and has really helped me flourish. And it'll be exciting for me to go back and be inside Carver. I haven't been there since I played my last game. So
yeah.
It'll be really special.
Imagine this, an arena completely sold out, not for a game, but for a jersey retirement ceremony. That's the kind of impact Caitlin Clark has had on basketball. The tickets disappeared faster than her signature three-pointers. And trust me, I've been trying to get my hands on one. I'm seriously considering just driving up there to be in the atmosphere, to feel the energy of the crowd, because this isn't just any jersey retirement. This is history in the making. But here's where things get really interesting. In this exclusive interview with 247 Sports, Iowa Hawkeye insider Clark opened up about everything that's been happening behind the scenes. And when I say everything, I mean everything. She's been working with her new head coach Stephanie White and player development coach Keith Porter, who made the move from Connecticut to join the Fever staff. But it's what she revealed about her training situation that really caught my eye.
Yeah, new player development coach came over with Steph White from Connecticut, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been fun to be in Indianapolis and working out with him, and Keith just loves the game of basketball, you can tell, and he puts a lot of time into it. It puts a lot of time into, what we're going to work on every single day, but how does that look in like a long-term plan of my development, and how does that all work together, and not overwhelming me with new things that we can work on, but just adding little things and refining certain things that, can help me be much more successful in year 2. And then also just trying to get stronger and be in the weight room a lot. So it's been fun. I feel like this is the first time I've really had a chance to really work on my game and work on my craft and be really focused on it. And obviously that was hard.
You see, for the first time since before her senior year at Iowa, Clark finally has the opportunity to truly focus on developing her game. Think about that for a second. The player who revolutionized women's college basketball, who broke record after record, who had everyone tuning in to watch her play. She's only now getting the chance to really work on her craft without any distractions. During her senior year at Iowa, it was non-stop. They had team practices, a foreign trip that took up all of August, and constant preparation for the regular season. There was barely any time to work on individual development. But now she's got dedicated time with trainers, rebounders, and development coaches. She can focus on specific aspects of her game that she wants to improve. And let's talk about that development process for a minute. Keith Porter, her new development coach, isn't just throwing everything at her at once. They are taking a methodical approach, adding little things here and there, refining certain aspects of her game. It's all part of a long-term plan to make her even more successful in her second year. They are focusing on strength training to making sure she's physically ready for the demands of professional basketball. The way Clark describes her training sessions, you can hear the excitement in her voice. She's finally got the time to be in the gym by herself, working with trainers, really focusing on the details of her game. And if you know anything about basketball, that's where the real improvement happens. It's in those quiet moments in the gym when you're working on the same move over and over again until it becomes second nature.
It was this or that the other team did. Like, at the end of the day, the only thing that you can control is yourself and how how that affects your team. Like, you can't control anything else, and at times that certainly can be really, really hard. It's obviously way easier said than done. You know, we've as
Yeah.
athletes have all been there in any sport. You know, people just get competitive, but I think I always try to remind myself, like, look in the mirror first, evaluate what you can do to get better.
But here's what's really fascinating throughout the interview. Clark kept coming back to this idea of long-term development. She's not just thinking about next season, she's thinking about her entire career. When she talks about working with Porter, she mentions how they are planning her development in stages, making sure each new element builds on what came before. This kind of methodical approach is exactly what you want to see from a young player entering the WNBA. It shows maturity, patience, and understanding that becoming a great professional player is a process. It's not just about maintaining the skills that made her successful in college. It's about adding new dimensions to her game that will make her even more effective at the professional level. Now let's talk about the Indiana Fever for a minute. The team is clearly allen on Clark's development. They brought in Stephanie White as head coach, who has a proven track record of developing young talent. They added Keith Porter to the staff, specifically to work on player development. These aren't just random moves. This is a carefully planned strategy to help Clark transition from college superstar to professional excellence. And speaking of transitions, the way Clark handles herself in this interview tells you everything you need to know about her mindset. She's not resting on her laurels or getting caught up in her own hype. Instead, she's focused on improvement, on learning, on getting better every single day. That's the kind of attitude that turns good players into great ones. The relationship between Clark and her development coach Porter is particularly interesting. The way she describes their work together, you can tell there's already a strong foundation of trust there. Porter's approach, adding little things gradually rather than overwhelming her with new concepts, shows a deep understanding of how to develop young talent, and Clark's enthusiasm for their work together suggests this partnership could be a key factor in her professional development. But perhaps what's most revealing is how Clark talks about the areas of her game she wants to improve. She's not just focused on scoring, even though that's what she's most famous for. She's talking about getting stronger, about refining various aspects of her game, about becoming a more complete player. This is someone who understands that what made her successful in college might not be enough in the pros. She needs to keep evolving. Let's not forget about the physical preparation. Either Clark mentioned spending a lot of time in the weight room, which is crucial for any player transitioning to the professional level. The WNBA is a different beast when it comes to physicality, and it's clear she understands that she's not just working on her basketball skills, she's preparing her body for the increased demands of professional basketball. And then there's the mental aspect of her preparation. Throughout the interview, you can hear how analytically she thinks about the game. She's not just going through the motions in training, she's thinking about how each element fits into the bigger picture. This kind of mental approach, combined with her physical preparation and skill development, suggests we're going to see an even more impressive version of Caitlin Clark when the WNBA season begins. The timing of all this is particularly interesting. While most rookies are trying to cram years of development into a few short months before their first season, Clark is taking a more measured approach. She understands that this is a marathon, not a sprint. She's not trying to transform her game overnight. She's building a foundation for long-term success. As we wrap up this first part of our deep dive into Clark's revelations, it's worth noting how different this approach is from what we typically see with highly touted rookies. Instead of trying to prove herself right away or make dramatic changes to her game, Clark is focused on gradual improvement and sustainable development. This patient, methodical approach might just be the key to her future success in the WNBA. Now let's get into what everyone's been talking about: Caitlin Clark's decision about Unrivaled. This might be the biggest bombshell from the entire interview. Despite being offered what sources say was a massive deal to join the league, Clark turned it down, and when you hear her talk about it, you start to understand why this decision makes perfect sense for her career. The way Clark approached this decision tells us a lot about her priorities. She didn't just see dollar signs and jump at the opportunity. Instead, she carefully considered how it would fit into her overall career trajectory. When she talks about it, you can hear the conviction in her voice. It's not that she's against Unrivaled, she just knows it's not the right move for her right now. This brings us to one of the most interesting parts of the interview: her relationship with former teammate Kate Martin, who did choose to join Unrivaled. The way Clark talks about Martin's success in the league is fascinating. She breaks down exactly why the 3-on-3 format suits Martin's game perfectly: her shooting ability, her physicality, her high basketball IQ. But what's really touching is how genuinely happy Clark is for her former teammate's success. You can hear the pride in Clark's voice when she talks about Martin's development. She mentions how hard Martin worked in the off-season before heading to Miami and how that work is paying off now. This isn't just teammate talk. This is someone who truly cares about her friend's success and is excited to see her thriving in a new environment. But here's where it gets really interesting. Clark dropped a hint about potentially recruiting Martin to the Fever someday. Now, she was quick to add that this is a long-term goal, telling fans not to get too excited just yet, but the fact that she's already thinking about building future connections with her teammates shows her strategic mindset about her professional career. The dynamic between Clark and Martin in their upcoming WNBA matchups is something to watch for. Clark joked about finally having a chance to beat Martin since the Fever couldn't get a win against the Aces last season. There's this wonderful mix of competitive fire and genuine friendship in how she talks about these future matchups. Speaking of the WNBA, Clark's insights about the differences between college and professional basketball are enlightening. She talks about how the game changes at the pro level, not just in terms of speed and physicality, but in terms of strategy and decision-making. The way she analyzes these differences shows just how much thought she's putting into her transition to the professional game. One particularly interesting aspect of the interview was Clark's discussion of the differences between 5-on-5 and 3-on-3 basketball. She pushes back against critics who try to use unrivaled performance to judge players' abilities, explaining how the two formats require different skill sets and approaches. This kind of nuanced understanding of the game really shows through when she talks about basketball. The relationship between Clark and her new coaching staff at the Fever is another fascinating element. She speaks highly of head coach Stephanie White and the entire development team. You can tell there's already a strong foundation of trust being built there. The way Clark describes their approach to her development, focusing on specific aspects of her game while maintaining what made her successful in college, shows a real alignment in their vision for her future. But it's not just about basketball skills. Throughout the interview, Clark emphasizes the importance of building relationships and understanding different aspects of the professional game. She talks about learning from veterans, about understanding the business side of basketball, about making smart decisions for her long-term career. This holistic approach to her professional development is impressive for such a young player. The way Clark discusses her future plans reveals a player who's thinking several moves ahead. She's not just focused on her rookie season or even her second year. She's thinking about building a lasting career in the WNBA. When she talks about potentially playing with Martin again someday, or about her development plans with the Fever, you can hear that long-term perspective in her voice. And let's talk about her impact on the game already. The fact that her jersey retirement ceremony at Iowa is completely sold out speaks volumes, but what's even more impressive is how she's handling all this attention. She remains focused on improvement, on development, on becoming the best player she can be. That's not easy when you're under the kind of spotlight she's experiencing. The support system Clark has built around her is crucial, from her coaches to her former teammates to her new teammates. With the Fever, she's surrounded herself with people who understand her goals and are committed to helping her achieve them. This kind of environment is exactly what a young player needs to thrive in professional basketball. Looking ahead to the 2025 season, Clark's preparation and mindset suggests we're going to see something special. She's not just working on her game, she's building relationships, understanding the league, and positioning herself for long-term success. The way she talks about her goals and plans shows a maturity that goes well beyond her years. Her decision about Unrivaled really encapsulates her approach to professional basketball. It wasn't just about the money or the opportunity, it was about what fits best with her long-term goals. This kind of decision-making, combined with her dedication to improvement and her understanding of the game, suggests we're watching the early stages of what could be a remarkable WNBA career. As we look to the future, it's clear that Clark's impact on basketball will extend far beyond her college career. Her thoughtful approach to development, her understanding of the game, and her ability to build meaningful connections within the basketball community all point to a player who's prepared to make her mark on the professional level. The way she's handling this transition from college superstar to WNBA rookie shows exactly why so many people believe she's going to be a special player in this league for years to come. And there you have it, folks, the inside scoop on Caitlin Clark's plans for 2025 and beyond. If you want to stay updated on all things basketball and get the latest news about your favorite players, smash that like button and hit subscribe. Don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. This is your boy coming at you with the freshest basketball content, and I'll catch you in the next one.